Hello guys and welcome to another milkshake chess video. In this video we'll be talking about a chess opening this time. So in the last video we talked about a chess endgame, and for my schedule I've decided to do a chess endgame, a chess opening, a chess endgame, and like that. So in this opening we'll be covering an opening for white. So because white's the first to move, so I guess we'll start with white and then we'll move on to black openings. So in the opening there are many moves which white can move. For example, we can do this, which is not a good move, but you can do that. You can do this, you can do this, you can do this. You can do so many moves, but only a few of them are pretty good. So for example, you can do this, which is called the Reti Opening. You can also do this, which is the Queen's Pawn Opening. You can do this, which I forgot the name of, but it's playable for white. And for beginners, I recommend the move e4 because it's just the easiest to remember, and there's a lot of tactics which come out of this line, which are very fun to play. So I recommend e4. And now it's black's turn to move, and black can do the same moves as white, but again, there are only a few moves which are good. So if I turn on the engine right here, the engine immediately recommends c5, which is called the Sicilian. So I'll turn on the engine. So now there's a couple of, actually there's quite a few good moves which black can make. So there's a c5, Sicilian, there's c6, the Caro-Kann, there's d6, which is the Piots. There's e6, which is the French. No, not that. There's this, which is the modern opening. There's this, which I forgot the name of. There's this, which is the Indian game, and there's this, which is the Scandinavian defense. But for beginners, I recommend e5, and this is called the King's Pawn Opening because both players have moved their king pawns. So now, the key rule of the opening is to develop your minor pieces. So to get your knights out, your bishops out, and castle your king. So you develop your knight. Now, the computer recommends the Petrov or the Russian game. But this line can get quite complicated. For example, you can play an Stafford Gambit with bishop c4. Or you can play an Stafford Gambit like this. Or you can play the classical Russian, which is this. And there's many other lines like this, which is you can do this, which is very bad for black. So and now you win a knight. So yeah. And you can also do something else. For example, this, which is very exciting. You can do this, and now you can develop this, which is called the Stafford Gambit. And now you take this, and your bishop is quickly activated. Your queen gets out, and this bishop gets out, and it's really dangerous for black. And you can castle and get your rooks out. Okay, I mean dangerous for white. So this line's quite complicated, so I'll do this, which is the simpler variation. Now the engine recommends bishop g5, which is called the Spanish or the Roy Lopez. But because we're talking about simple openings here, we'll play the Italian. Actually, before I talk about the Italian, there's a couple of other openings which you can play. You can play this, which is knight c3, which is the 3 knights opening. When black does this, it's called a 4 knights opening. It's a fine opening for beginners, but it can get quite boring most of the time. Okay, from there you can play an interesting opening, which is called the Ponziani Opening. You can and I play the Italian, so it's bishop c5. Okay, so now black can do a couple of moves. He can do this, he can do this, and he can do this, and he can do this. So we'll be covering all of these lines later in the video. Okay, so we'll first get into the first line, which is this. And now you can play on basically a Gioco piano if this happens. So this is just a regular Italian game. But if you want to spice things up a bit, you can play knight g5. Double attacking on this pawn because, excuse me, both the knight and the bishop are attacking this pawn, and only the king's defending it. There's 2v1, which is going to be good for white. And if white captures this pawn, it's going to double attack the queen and the rook. So white's going to win one of those pieces regardless. Okay, so the main move for black here is to block this bishop's attack with this pawn, but now you can take. And the best move for black here is to do knight a5. And this isn't usually correct because you don't really want a knight on the side of the board because it controls less squares. Only 4 instead of the maximum 8 it can control. There's a saying in chess which is called the knight on the rim is dim. So the knight on the edge of the board is not very functional. But here the knight is attacking this bishop. And if white does nothing, he will take the bishop and be happy. So the best move for white is castle. I mean not castle, is bishop b5 check. The best move for black is to do this, block it, takes, and now black white retreats the bishop to here. Okay, so now this knight on the edge, this knight on the rim is actually dim now. But I can just quickly get back into the game like this. These pawns are kind of horrible because they're isolated. But if black plays correctly, he'll survive this. Okay. So the best move is the best move is knight a5, but black can sometimes do knight takes d5, and this is not a good move because white can play the exciting sacrifice knight takes f7, which is a fried liver attack. And now the knight is double attacking, so black has to take the pawn. I mean the knight. Now we come with our queen, checking. So black can do a couple of moves. For example, if he does this, then we win this knight back, and we're up a pawn, so it's good for white. He can also do this, and we still win the knight. You can go back, and we still win the knight, and we're also threatening checkmate. So if black's not careful, he'll fall into checkmate. So, and the very worst move is to go here, because this will end in forced checkmate. So check. The queen has to take. The queen takes back, and it's check again. And you can't take the queen, and you can't run the king because it's blocked in by its own pieces. So you have to block this with the bishop, and when the queen takes the bishop, it's going to be checkmate. Okay, so the best move for black here is to do king here because it actually defends the knight. But now we can knight's pinned, so we can bring a third attacker to the knight, which is building up a lot of pressure on this knight. So now it's 3v2, and now black can protect this knight by doing knight e7, which is now 3v3, so it's even. But now white can do d4, d4. If black takes, like, I mean, we don't even have to move this knight. We can just castle, bring this rook out, start attacking, and because you move this pawn to get this bishop out, and it's going to be chaos for black. Okay, so back to this position. Okay, so black can do here, but it's not usually recommended. Okay, so black can do this, which is purposefully avoiding this move. Black can also do, no, not the Spanish. You can also do this, which is called the Black Martini Gambit, and it's quite interesting. So you see here, black's gambiting this pawn. So gambiting's a fancy word for sacrificing. So now here, black goes here, and now it's double attacking this pawn and this knight. So if you save this knight, you just take this. Now it's attacking both this knight and this rook. So if you save this rook, actually no, you don't. Actually, no, excuse me, you don't do that. So do this. Most people here actually take this because this is a double attack. And now he takes this, attacking these pieces. So white saves the rook, and now this check. So it's already losing for white here, because if I turn on the engine, white will have to sacrifice his queen, and then knight will take the queen, and black will be up the queen, so black will be winning. But most people they don't want to lose their queen, so they instead block with their bishop. But this will result in one of the most beautiful checkmates ever, which is knight to f3, smothered mate, because this bishop is pinned and can't take the knight. Okay. So what do I recommend when black does this? So so in this position, if you play correctly, black is actually losing. So the best move here is to take this, and when he takes back, you do this to prevent this pawn from further advancing, and you just develop normally. Okay. Okay, so now onto the main line, which is bishop c5. So now we can't do knight g5 because the queen will take the knight. Okay, so the best move here is actually c3. It's not knight c3 because black can do knight f6, and it turns into a 4 knights game Italian variation, which is very boring. Now c3, it doesn't seem like a good move on the surface because it's actually blocking the knight, but you'll see later. So now black can attack this pawn. Wait, attack this pawn, and I'll protect it with d3. And now black has a couple of good moves. Has two good moves. He can do h6 or a6. I'll do h6 first because white did d3 for two reasons. One is to protect this pawn, and two is to develop his bishop and pin this knight. So when black does h6, it prevents the bishop from going here. Okay, so now we do another strange move. We move a knight to d2. We're blocking this bishop on purpose, but you see later why. Now black does a6, and do you know why black does a6? You can pause the video. I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, so the answer is that black wants to do this and trade off your bishop. So usually if you know about the minor pieces, is that two bishops are usually better than two knights, or a bishop and a knight. So if black trades off this bishop, he'll have two bishops and a knight versus two knights and a bishop, which is better for black. Okay. Okay, so if black does this move straight away attacking this bishop, well, I can just do this, run away, and if he tries to do a6 now, the bishop comes here, and if you attack him again, you just come back to c2. So this is the reason white moved c3 earlier, is to protect give a shelter to this bishop. And I've had a game when my opponent castled, and this the best move here. Do you know what it is? b4, which is double attacking these minor pieces. Okay, so but now black's done a6, so now he wants to do this, and if you go here, he takes you now. And if you can't go here now because the pawn takes you. So now you go bishop b3, preparing to escape. So now if black does this, you go here. Okay, so now does Now black does d6, preparing to launch his bishop into the attack. So now you do h3, stopping this. So now he may do this, which is bishop e6, trying to trade over your bishop. Now I don't really recommend taking this bishop because when he takes back, he has 3 pawns in the center versus your 2, and this file is also open. So when he castles, his rook will be on this line, going to attack this pawn with the bishop. So that's not the best idea. So now you can escape your bishop on c2. So now castles, and now here's the reason why white moved his knight to d2. So I'll just start moving random moves for black, because black's not really that important in this opening, but you can also follow the moves I make. So here, white develops his rook, white moves his knight to f1, and now knight to g3, developing both his knights on the king side, preparing to launch an attack against the black king. Okay, say black goes for queenside minority attack, which is an attack where you have less pawns on the side of the board. Actually, it's not even a minority attack, it's just a queenside pawn rush. So now the goal for white is to move his bishop here and prepare to launch for d4. So d4, so white's goal is to try to attack in the center and open up lines, and black's goal is to try to attack on the queen side. Okay, so this is the Italian game. Okay, so that was the Italian game. So I hope you enjoyed the video. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and leave a like. And if you have any questions for me, or if you have any recommendations for me, you can leave them in the comment section and I'll try to respond to your comments. So I hope you found this video informative. Have a great day and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.